Hello, welcome to Cocoknits. In this video, I'm going to show you how I work a provisional cast on for a collar, to prep a collar for the Cocoknits method. I like to use two separate cords so that I can get away with just using one set of needles. I'm using two different types of needles here so that I can show you the difference between the top needle and the bottom needle for the cast on. But this allows you to use just one set of two needles, and then I use two cords. Any kind of interchangeable is fine. I like Addies. These are Addie clicks. And what I do is I stick stoppers on the ends of each of them. And then on the other end, I'm going to pop in my needles. And that way, it's easier to store the stitches you're not going to use on a spare cord. So I've got two cords, two needles. You could use two completely different sets of circular needles. That would be fine too. And then I like to use Judy's Magic Cast On. This is a long tail cast on method, so you're gonna need as much length in your tail as you need to cast on the stitches. It's a double set of stitches. So if, for instance, the instruction is to cast on 10 stitches PCO, which stands for Provisional Cast On, that's going to mean 10 stitches with the tail and 10 stitches with the live you're pulling. So you just want to pull out a long enough tail. So I'm going to do kind of 1, 2, 3. That should be plenty to cast on just 10 stitches. And you're going to hold the yarn as if you're going to start a long tail cast on. So I hold the ends together kind of with my pinky and spread apart the stitches with my finger on the top and my thumb on the bottom. And then you want to hold your needles, and this is why I have two different types here, so you can see. You want a top needle and a bottom needle. And you want to just loop the yarn around the top needle. Just going to lay it right over that top needle. And then it's opposites. So finger is top, so top over bottom. Again, top over bottom, and then we're going to do bottom over top. So again, top, which is finger, goes from the front over the bottom needle. And then the bottom, which is the thumb, needs to kind of come in between the needles so you can go again from front toward back over the top needle. And then bring your fingers back around to your originating position. Top over bottom, bottom over top. Top over bottom, bottom over top. It takes a while to get used to it, like learning anything new. Just keep working at it, and eventually this should be like second nature. Again, top over bottom, bottom over top. And when you get the instruction for PCO 10, that means provisionally cast on 10 on the top and 10 on the bottom. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got 9, 2, 4, 6, 8 on the bottom. So there's 9. Oops, sorry. Top over bottom. And then here's number 10 for both. Bottom over top, top over bottom. Now I've got 10 stitches on the top needle and 10 stitches on the bottom needle. And then you follow your pattern. If it says that you need to start work on the right side, you can see with this cast on, that's the right side because they're smooth. This would be the wrong side. You see the little bumps there? Those are little purls. So that's the purl side or the wrong side. So if it says you want to work on your right side, you've got to position this so that you're ready to work on the right side. So for me, that's this silver needle. And find your working yarn. It's easy to accidentally start knitting with your tail, which will not get you far. So if I know I need to knit across this top needle here, I've got it positioned. I'm going to slide this guy, the bottom one, so that I'm going to hold these stitches. And I'm going to click off this needle and replace it with a stitch stopper. So now on the bottom here, I'm holding these stitches and they're not going to go anywhere because I've got my stitch stoppers on them. And then on the other end of this cord, I'm going to pop off my stitch stopper, replace it with my working needle, and I'm ready to ignore the guys I have on hold down here and knit across these stitches. And if you have this situation where there's your end stitch, before you start to knit, just take this bottom strand and lay it over, and that will kind of make a stitch out of that. It'll secure it. Right, so I've just taken that and there's my tail that I'm going to ignore. And now you work however you're supposed to. If you're supposed to do rib here, start doing rib. If you were doing garter stitch, you just start knitting, stockinette stitch knitting. At any rate, I'm going to knit across these guys, and I'm absolutely going to ignore the stitches that are on hold down here and just ignore them. But just know that if it says to provisionally cast on, 20 stitches, that means 20 on the top needle, 20 on the bottom needle. You can use other types of provisional cast on. This is just my favorite, this Judy's, because when you go back, you're ready to roll. You click your needles onto the cord and you're ready to just start working, going the other direction. But on this, I'm just going to pretend like my instruction is to work stockinette. So there you go. You just work on these guys until you're ready to go back to your held stitches.